Let us have a prayer before we start this presentation. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the book of Daniel and Revelation. You have shown us what will happen in the last time of this world history. And during this meeting we pray that you must guide us by your Holy Spirit and let us understand what is really going on. We pray for this in Jesus' name. Amen. So the topic is how the prophecies of Revelation 13 and 17 are being fulfilled today. And in Revelation 17 we find this, the harlot. And this harlot is very rich. The harlot has the gold and the silver. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, History, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and of an abomination of the earth. Who is the mother church?
The papacy.
The papacy. Have you heard this yourself?
Yeah.
That they say that we are the mother church?
Yes.
And the other churches are their daughters? The fallen daughters? Yes. Even this former Pope Benedict, when he was a cardinal, he said that we are the mother church. Yes. They say it by themselves. And they try to gather all the churches today through this ecumenical movement. And all churches that take part in this ecumenical movement, they are on the deck of this boat. Either they are observers or they are members. And this ecumenical movement started in the Second Vatican Council from 1962 to 1965. And during that, or just after that council, then this ecumenical gatherings, Catholic Church together with the Lutheran Church and other churches, and they gave themselves their hands, you know. They wanted to cooperate, they wanted to have unity. And that's a good thing, to have unity. And when they have such dialogues, and they come together, you know, they sign documents. And when you have signed a document, in a way you have bound yourself to some certain rules that you have to follow. So, if you have seen some of these gatherings, you will see they sign documents. And here is a document when the Catholic Church made agreements with the Orthodox Church. And here also the Lutheran Church that signed this agreement, joint declaration with the Catholic Church in Lund in Sweden in October 31, 2016. And here the Catholic Church and the Evangelicals in the United States signed the declaration on the way. And in these gatherings, ecumenical gatherings, the Pope is the center, always. They place him in the center. But who should be in the center?
Jesus.
Jesus should be in the center, always. Yes. You should look to him and not to the Pope. And in these gatherings, you know, the people, they listen to him. They are coming to the Vatican to listen to the Pope. Or when the Pope is going to other countries, they are coming to listen to him. And he will try to gather them, you know, that's the word, gather. To bring them together under the umbrella of the Pope. And you know, Luther and the Reformers, they said very, very clear that the Pope is Antichrist. And his throne is that of Satan himself. Lutherans today reject Luther's identification of the Pope with the Antichrist. And the Pope is saying, despite of differences, we are one. He, Christ, does not care if they are evangelicals, Orthodox, Lutherans, Catholics, or apostolic. He does not care. They are Christians. So today all are Christians. You can hardly hear about the Antichrist today. And the Catholic Church and the Pope, they like to mention themselves as Christians, not Antichrist. And you know, these different ecumenical movements, these concepts they are mentioned as Christians. World Christian Communions, Global Christian Forum, Council for Christian Unity, International Council of Christian Churches, American Council of Christian Churches, Christian Council of Tanzania, Norwegian Christian Council, Sweden's Christian Council, Finland's Christian Council. So the point is today that all are Christians. Even we as Seventh-day Adventists, we mention the other churches, denominations as Christians today. Many of us. We have seen this even in our church magazines. And here we have this World Christian Communion. This is the biggest ecumenical movement in the world. And the leader of this is a Seventh-day Adventist from the General Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It's a shame to say, but his name is Calvin Dyer. And he is also a representative for the General Conference of the Seventh-day Adventists in this Global Christian Forum. And all these Christian communities and Christian forums, it is Seventh-day Adventist, it is Catholics, it is Orthodox, it is Methodist, it is Pentecostals, all kinds of churches there. All are Christians today. And here you see this representative, this Seventh-day Adventist, that is the general secretary in this global Christian, World Christian Communion. He was invited to the Pope in the Vatican, you know. So they are friends now. Greetings, and they're talking together and they're working for unity. And here, sad to say, the leader of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Ted Wilson, he also went to Moscow to celebrate the 500 years of Luther. On that very day, October 31, 2017. And I have heard he is there together with the Catholic Church and Orthodox Church and all these so-called Christian churches. And I have heard his speech. It was about between 7 and 8 minutes. And he had nothing about Luther's struggle against the Catholic Church, nothing about the Catholic Church, nothing about the Pope Protestant churches, nothing about the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, nothing against the ecumenical movement. It was like giving out the great hope instead of the great controversy. Yes. And Ted Wilson, he thanked Putin, the president of Russia, for religious liberty in Russia. Can you imagine? It is not religious liberty at all. You cannot go as here in London, you cannot go on the street and just give the message to the people. Then you will be put to jail, to prison. So, but Ted Wilson, he thanked Putin for religious liberty in Russia, and when we heard this, we thanked God. What is going on? And just after his speech, the Lutheran leader in Russia came forward and thanked Ted Wilson for his nice preaching. And here they are standing there having a conversation together. The different church leaders also had a nice meal together, and it seems that all the leaders appreciated this ecumenical gathering. And we read from Revelation 17:18, and the woman whom you saw is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. Some people, they think that it is the Jews that is standing behind all this. But the Bible reveals that it is the papacy that is standing behind, that reigns over the kings of the earth. And the Catholic Church, they say the Church of Rome is one monarchy over all the kingdoms. And now we shall look a little briefly through Revelation 17 about the 8 world powers. 5 are fallen, 1 is, 1 shall reign in a short time, and the 8 is all the 7. And some people, they think they start this, the 5 are fallen, they start this in Egypt or Assyria, but we prefer to start where we have it from Daniel chapter 2. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome, and then the papacy in the Middle Ages that started in 538 AD. And in the Bible we read about this little horn. I was watching, and the same horn was making war against the saints and prevailing against them. And today we think that no, it's no war against the Catholic and God's people today. It's no war. But why is it no war today against us? Because we are taking part to get rid of them in the ecumenical movement. We are kind people, you know, and we are, yes, we are not so harmful to give the right message. So we are more like them, you know, today. But it is a war going on. It's a war. It's a smart war going on. And if we can be silent in this war, then it's okay for the things. But the people of God, when they stood forward with the message in the Middle Ages, we saw that it was progress. It was really a war. And those people were persecuted, you know, in 1260 years, from 538 to 1798 AD. And then we have this text from Revelation 18:24. And in her, in the harlot, was found the blood of prophets and saints and of all who were slain on the earth. So the Bible reveals that it is the harlot that is standing behind this war. It is the harlot that is standing behind the persecution of God's people. And we know that in 1798 the papacy we see that they will wound when General Haller arresting Pope Pius VI on February 1798. And then after this time we come to the 6th power. 1 is, and it was Napoleon, you know, in France, and the French Revolution. It was atheism that reigned in the world in that time. And that is the 6th power in the world. And this atheism came to Russia. It was the Jesuits that created this Russian Revolution. It's always the Jesuits that is standing behind these different revolutions in the world. And we have atheism or communism, we had this in about more than 70 years. And then in 1990, in December, Mikhail Gorbachev, the leader of the communist Russia, he resigned, and all the statues of Stalin and Lenin, all this were taken down, and the people, they rejoiced, and they look forward to a better time. But it has been a better time. I have been in Russia, I have some campaign in Russia also, in North Russia, and it was a better time, a little time, but now the persecution has started again. And then we are coming to the power, the seventh power in this prophecy. And the order is not yet come, and when he comes, he must continue a short time. And it was the United States that then in the Persian Gulf War showed herself, this nation, as a powerful nation, military nation. And then in 2003 it was war in Iraq. And the United States has been a superpower for more than 30 years. A short time. Perhaps you will say that the United States has been a superpower for a longer time, but at least from they started the war in the Persian Gulf in 1991, they have been a superpower. The United States of America is not longer the world's superpower. The United States has been threatened with nuclear war by North Korea. If it should be World War III, North Korea will probably be supported by Russia, China, Iran, and Turkey, which also are very strong military nations. And the President of the United States in some newspapers, this is from the newspaper in Norway, the next biggest newspaper in Norway, we read that about this chaos president. President Trump is mentioned as a chaos president. And it's interesting because in the world, the world powers, they try to create chaos in order to have a new world order. So that's the strategy. And he's studying here that he forbidden that confuse both friends and enemies. And the United States has abdicated from its international leading position. The newspapers is writing like this, and it's very interesting. The United States has lost its political influence in the world. This is from Norwegian newspaper. And it is also interesting that the United States has very, very much debt. In the first part of this year, they had more than $21 trillion in debt. And they expect that in the last part of this year, it will increase till $25 trillion. And the debt held by the public in the United States in the beginning of 2018 is nearly $15 trillion. Together it is about $42 trillion. It is so much money. And some people, they have tried to find out how long this will go. If you put $1 settled upon each other like this, I think it was in 2015. They said that it will reach to the moon. Yes, it's so much money. I do not understand this sum of money. It is very, very much. Together, all in all, the total national debt in the United States, they expect it to be in the last part in of 2019, $70 trillion. And that is so much money, we have no chance to solve that problem. It will soon come an economic collapse. And the newspapers are writing, are you prepared for the coming economic collapse and the next Great Depression? They have, the headlines is like this: financial crash is coming, financial crisis, financial collapse, economic crisis, economic disaster, global financial crash, stock market declines, like this. So people, they expect that will come very difficult times. And China attacks the dollar. China is the world's largest oil importer. Confirmed death of US dollar as China launches petro-yen. Russia will use petro-ruble. The European Union will use euro. Iran officially bans the dollar. The US dollar is being dumped. The end of the dollar hegemony is coming. It will come a dollar collapse, and that will cause some problems for us. All of us, not only in Norway, but in England, all over the world, will have influence on this. So the dollar is dumped. Soon it will be no worth. If you read James chapter 5, you see that the money will be worthless in the last part of world history. So the dollar will be burned up, no value. And the United States have so much debt that it is for sale. They cannot solve the problem. People are aware of this. And now they have started this trade war, you know, between the United States and China. And now also Europe take part in this trade war. So China, they have a new tariffs on US goods, and the United States hits back at China to increase tariffs on import. We as Seventh-day Adventists, perhaps we do not bother about this. Perhaps this is financial problems, that means not so much. But this is also foretold in the Bible, that it will come a financial collapse, financial problems in the world in the last part of this world history. So in the near future, we can expect trade war, dollar collapse, and perhaps also World War III, and of course persecution. And then we are coming to the eighth power, and this is the most important point, I will say, in this about when I'm talking about these 8 world powers. We read from the Bible, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is called the 7th, and is going to perdition. It is interesting that it is the 8 powers is not one of the 7, but the 8 is of the 7. And this is very interesting because today the world are divided in 10 regions, in 10 parts. And in the document where they have divided the world in 10 parts, on the front page of this document is standing 10 kingdoms. 10 kingdoms. Very interesting. Because we read here, down there on the screen, and the 10 horns, which those souls are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings walk over with the beast. So the world powers, they will link together with the papacy, with the beast, in the last part of world history. It's not like this that the beast will have power alone in the world. No, they will cooperate with all the other countries, governments, to establish the new world order, this global system. And they will have power, one over with the beast. This word, this Greek word for one over, is what was that word I said? Hora. Hora. Yes. And that means a short time. So, in a period of short time, the world powers will link together with the papacy and they will have power a short time. So England will be a part of this. They will not be independent and separated. They will be a part of this. And Ellen White, when she comments these verses, she wrote, "These have one mind." She's talking about the 10 kings. "These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast." That is what is being done today. They sign documents. They bind themselves together under this new world order, this global system. They have one mind. That means that, you know, in Acts, in the days of Pentecost, we read that they have one mind. But now, also from the world, we see that they will have one mind. And Ellen White, she writes, "There will be a universal bond of union, one great harmony, and confederacy of Satan's forces." So the Bible reveals that it is the devil, the Satan, that is standing behind this global system. And it will be a universal bond of union. It will not only be a European Union, or an African Union, or a United States, but it will be a universal bond of union. That means that all the countries in the world will go together with the beast, the papacy, in this struggle. And the Great Britain will take part in this. It will be a part of this. In the warfare to be waged in the last days, all the corrupt powers that do not show obedience to the law of God will unite. And then in Revelation 16 we also have this revealed. "And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet." So here you have 3 powers: the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. And the dragon, I said this to a Catholic when they wrote this joint declaration in 1999. I was in Trondheim City in Norway, where they should celebrate this together with the Lutheran Church and the Catholic Church. And I confronted the Catholic leaders and the Lutheran leaders, and I said to them just that I just want to tell you what you are doing here. It's a part of the fulfillment of the prophecies. Because the prophecy is saying that it is a dragon that's a picture of the devil. The devil is working through many different ways, but also through the spiritualism. And I said to him, the beast is the Catholic Church, and the false prophet is the false Protestant churches. And then this Catholic bishop, he said to me, "No, I do not think that the Catholic Church is the beast." And then I said to him, "Oh, that was interesting. What do you think about this beast? Who is the beast?" And then he paused a little and he said, "I do not know." Yes, that was the easy way to say this. But the Bible is saying, for there are spirits, for they are spirit of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. So here we see that it is devil forces behind this global tragedy we can see today. The Bible revealed this. It's the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. And the motto they have to gather all the world is peace. They shall have peace. But they shall have peace, not the peace as we can have when we come to Christ. Because He is the only one that can give us peace. The world cannot give us peace. They can sign a paper, peace paper. But the Bible is revealing it will be peace a short time. And then sudden destruction will come. After the meeting in Singapore in June 12, 2018, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and Kim Jong-un, the President of North Korea, both said that they will work for peace. They have so many peace conferences over the world. They're working for peace. And the Bible is saying, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as trouble upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Perhaps you can remember when the United States started the war in the Gulf. And in January 1991, George Bush, the President of the United States, he said, "It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspiration of mankind, peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law." So here you see, it's a peace. To come together to have peace. It is also interesting to see this phrase, in common cause. That's that word for the new world order. I can also remember when Ted Wilson, he was introduced as a leader of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He read a letter from Barack Obama, from the President of the United States. He asked him to take part in the common cause. And the people, they clapped for this, you know. They think this letter was very good. But common cause is a phrase, is in a way to say about the new world order. And in this global system, they have a hierarchical system. Some few leaders are coming together to make a plan of how they shall rule the world. And then when they have made some rules, they send it down in the system to the governments, to the nations, and they give it out to all the departments, all the institutions in that country. They shall follow these rules made by the leaders on the top. And that's the plan, that they shall rule all the world. It's some few people giving instructions to the whole world. And as you perhaps know, this European Union is like the Tower of Babel. Europe, they say many tongues, but they will speak with one voice. That's the way how the new world order are. They will speak with one tongue, with one voice. And perhaps you have seen on the euro bills. Have you studied this euro bills? Have you seen that in all the euro bills you have a bridge?
Yes.
Yes, it's a bridge. And why do they have a bridge on every euro bill?
Because the Pope is a bridge builder.
Yes, because the Pope is a bridge builder. That's true. Because he is the Pontifex Maximus. Pontifex Maximus, that means the greatest bridge builder. So he tried to make bridges in political level and also in religious level. And it is the Jesuits of Rome that is the main helpers of the Vatican to introduce the New World Order. And for example, in Jesuits, they are in all governments. They are here in England, they are in Scotland, they are in Ireland, they are in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, all places. And in the United States, they have 28 universities and about 200 institutions. And in the Vatican today, we have 3 the Jesuits, the leaders of the Jesuits, Jesuit generals. And they have Peter Hans Kollenbach, that was a former one, and Adolfo Nicolaus. They have retired, but they are still working in the Vatican, together with this man here, Arturo Sosa, that is the Jesuit general leader today. And of course they are working together with this Jesuit leader, Pope Francis. He has been a Jesuit for 45 years. So he knows what he is doing. This man, he's working for the New World Order. And in the oath of induction, they say like this: I do further promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents, make and wage relentless war secretly and openly against all heretics, Protestants and liberals, as I am directed to do, to extirpate, that's difficult for me to say this word, and exterminate them from the face of the whole earth. And when the Pope visited the Congress in the United States, it was 3 Jesuits on the platform. 3 Jesuits. It was interesting. And perhaps you know this man here, Adam Weishaupt. How many have heard about Adam Weishaupt? Oh, only some of you. But Adam Weishaupt is a Jesuit, and he made a plan for the New World Order in 7 points. The first point is the abolition of all ordered governments. 2, the abolition of private property. 3, the abolition of all inheritance. 4, the abolition of patriotism. 5, the abolition of all religions. 6, the abolition of the family. And 7, the creation of the New World Order. And in order to have the New World Order, the Catholic Church used all institutions. We have seen that they will give their power to the beast. All the world powers, and then working through the United Nations, the European Union, the African Union, the European Sunday Alliance, the international bankers, the Opus Dei, the Freemason, the Club of Rome, and so on. They are working through so many institutions to fulfill their task. And here you also have a picture illustrating this. The papacy is standing behind all this. Yes. And then in Daniel chapter 11 we read, he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. Today the papacy stretched his hands forth through the New World Order, through the European Union, through the African Union, through the United Nations, through the United States of America, through the ISIS, through the international laws, through the media. And especially through this Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. Let me see how many know this document, Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. There's only 2 persons in this congregation. You are not up there. This is important. We shall not only listen we have to follow, we have to examine what is going on in the world. Because it's the science that is coming now in the world that will show us that Christ soon will come back again. And this is a document that shows us that the world is being bound together. This Agenda 2030 was established in September 2015 when the United Nations celebrated 70 years. And then the Pope were there, of course, together with all the other 193 countries that are members of the United Nations. And Pope Francis appealed to all nations in the world to underline this document, which is accepted by all the member states of the United Nations. All nations have, even England has underlined and accepted this agenda that bind them completely under the control of the United Nations. And I was saying, I admire this man, Nigel Farage. I have heard many speeches of him in the European Union, this what you say, Congress or Commission. And he has been very bold. He has just told about the United Nations, how they are working, the European Union, how they are working, and that England must come out from this system. And today it's a struggle. Will really England leave the Great Britain? Will they leave the European Union, or will they compromise? And then, yes, I took this picture because in Norway we had an election if we should be a part of the European Union. And it was a hard struggle. And then it was a farmer that had this on his barn. It's a cow, it's a prime minister in Norway, is milking something out from Norway into the
bucket.
Yes. Milking all from Norway into this bucket that is symbol of European Union, So the Norwegian people, they knew that the European Union system, they will take something from us, the resources, and bind us, So we must be loyal to them and give them things from us. So I think that you also will understand this. And Theresa May, the Prime Minister here in Great Britain or England, has made compromise with the European Union leaders. I think you have seen it. Yes. And Boris Johnson resigned, the Prime Minister resigned as US, UK Foreign Secretary of a compromise plan. And also this Brexit Secretary David Davis, he also resigned. So they have seen that the Prime Minister is trying to compromise. She will not just leave EU. They will just try to compromise, and bind themselves to this system. It's difficult to stand alone, they think. But Norway, they have said no to this European Union. We have survived in this. Because many people, by God's grace, we send information to 1/3 of the Norwegian population before we had this election in Norway. And many people have sent to the government leaders much information about this, that it's a Catholics, it's Catholics that is standing behind the European Union. And it is the papacy that want to regain control in Europe through this system. So, you know, this is a picture that just illustrates how they will bind us. They cast a lasso over us, you know. And when they have cast a lasso on us, they take the, and tie to the grip, you know. So we shall be under state control. Yes.
Abel, could I just mention something?
We must take this afterwards. Thank you.
No, I want to just mention something about what happened in the news yesterday with regards to Donald Trump. He was visiting the UK now. He's here. He was just here now 2 days ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's actually condemned what May is trying to do, or trying to culminate with the EU. He's saying no, he's not adding it. Because they are trying to side with it and do this deal, he's saying the deal's off with America now. Because that we not come out independently.
Yeah.
He's actually just said now yesterday that the deal is off with America until she actually puts her foot down and comes totally out.
No,
So this is very interesting.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yes, thank you. Yes. But if you have questions, just please come afterwards.
Sure, I just want to read it.
Yes, yes.
Point to do
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Yes. This Agenda 2030, it is a blueprint of the new world order. And England has accepted this. It's not only the European Union, it's also the United Nations. And this plan, the Agenda 2030, is a much bigger plan than what they have in the European Union. This is 193 countries. They have bound themselves in this lasso to accept this plan of the new world order. And they have 17 goals and 169 general large objectives. And in this agenda, we have the former Agenda 21, now we have this Agenda 2030. They will have control over all the food, partly through the, what is this organization, this Monsanto. Have you heard of Monsanto?
Yes.
They will have control over all the food. They will have control over the food, over the water, and the air. They will have control over the countries, over the finances, over the population, over the education, over the energy, and we can just continue. And they will have no borders. The borders shall be away, so all people can go forth and back just as they want to do. And now the new leader of this United Nations is Antonio Guterres. He's a Catholic and a socialist, and he's a friend of the Pope, and we work together with him for the new world order. And this Agenda 2030 will be no sustainable development. The different countries in Europe will be completely economic ruin by this agenda. And now we have this problem with all the immigrants, refugees, coming in big streams to every country, because they will have no more borders. Boundaries. What is Bible saying about that God has created the boundaries so people shall seek God? Yes. But they do not bother about this. And you see what is happening. I have tried to understand what is really going on. What is happening is that first they create a war, as in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, like this, you know. Then after this war, then all the refugees are coming like a stream to the countries. And now, you know, these ISIS soldiers are coming together with these refugees, coming to Europe. I saw it was about, they expected it was about 9,000 ES soldiers coming to Germany. And from Germany they're coming to Norway, Sweden, England, France, like this, you know. So we have trouble, but the people, it's not about the people, it's about the system. It's the globalists that have created this way of doing it. Yes. The people are just like a ball, you know. You cast them and you use the people to fulfill their plan. Because the people shall be, that's a part of the new world order, and all shall be mixed together. No boundaries. That will be confusion, I can tell you. Chaos. They create chaos in order to have the new world order. And according to Article 47 in this document, Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development, every nation is to be responsible for implementing Agenda 2030, whereas the supervision hereof is to be conducted by the United Nations General Assembly through its Supreme Political Council and the Economic and Social Council. So today, the United Nations are the supreme political council in the world, and also the supreme economic and social council in the world. And the other nations, they shall just follow their plans. They have signed this plan. They will follow this plan. So they are controlled by this plan of the United Nations. And we know it is the Vatican that is standing behind the United Nations and all these big institutions in the world working for the new world order. The Bible is saying that for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. England are being deceived. Many of these countries that are, yes, all the countries that are part of this European Union, they are being deceived. They do not really understand this tragedy of the papacy. Unfortunately, the Seventh-day Adventist Church have also accepted this plan, Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. Can we imagine? Ted Wilson was invited to the United Nations before they celebrated the 70-year celebration of the United Nations. That was in September. And Ted Wilson was there before all the world leaders come, and they have accepted this plan. We read the Adventist Agency joins the United Nations in seeking to achieve sustainable development goals. And even the world news that comments this and saying Andra joins the United Nations in sustainable development goals. So, unfortunately, they have accepted this plan. It's working together with the United Nations for this plan. I know that the Seventh-day Adventist Church, they try to help people. That's a very good thing. But they have not the right to give the three angels' message in this campaign. They can just only, you know, Christ, he said that he healed people and he gave them the message.
Amen.
We shall have both things.
Amen.
We shall be free to give this message.
Amen.
We shall not bind ourselves to this global system. That is a great thing. The fact is, sustainable development is one of the biggest killers of jobs. Its rules and regulations make it nearly impossible for many companies to survive. They have so many rules. You shall follow these rules, to fulfill their aim. And that will be a heavy burden for every nation. And then this Revelation chapter 17, we are dealing with this, the eighth power will take over from the seventh power. Or all the nations will work together, for this global plan. We read all these 10 kings, together with the beast. They shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him called and chosen and faithful. That's the good news. We have to have the good news too. That means that we just cannot only follow what is standing behind your Joel ministries. Can you show me one of you by your back? Can you turn your back to me? And then you have scripture about modern culture. Isn't that very good? So we have to follow Christ. If people are making some plans that not are in harmony with the Lord, we will follow the Lord. If the pastor is the right hand, and he has decided to do something that not is in harmony with the Word of God, then we will follow Christ as is the head of the body, and not the right hand. Yes. We have to take clear conclusions to be on God's side. Amen. That's the faithful. Amen. Yes, that's the faithful one. It's a war going on. We are in the war. If we not understand this and we continue to be lazy and just let it go, then we will be missed. We will not be, I shall not be a judge, but we have to be, we heard this from this testimony, we have to give the life, as God has given us the life. We have to give the life to the world. Yes. Stand up for the life. And then this history, or this about the harlot, it ends like this. And the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, this will hate the harlot, make her desolate and naked, eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So that's the judgment over the harlot. God will intervene, and He will end this power, and He will come and establish His kingdom. Amen. Yes. And the topic of this presentation was Revelation 13 and 17. So now we have dealt with Revelation 17. Now we will go briefly to chapter 13. And this is perhaps the most important chapter. And here we have, I think you have heard about this chapter before, but I think you will have some new information. Yes. Because the topic is how Revelation 13 and 17 is fulfilled today. In Revelation chapter 13, in the first 10 verses, we read about the beast from the sea. And we have so many videos about this, and I think we also have so many talks and speeches about this. We know that all these signs of this beast points to the papacy. And even the reformers, the Lutheran Church, is still standing in the Lutheran Church, the Lutheran Concord, the book, the Confessions of the Evangelical Lutheran Church. It is plain that the marks of the Antichrist concealed with doubts of the Pope's kingdom and his followers. It's still standing there. But you can hardly hear this from the pulpit today. Thank you very much, Peter. Because now, as I have told you, now the preachers in all churches, they say that we are all Christians. Catholic Church, Orthodox Church, Pentecostal Church, Methodist Church, Seventh-day Adventist Church. We are all Christians, mixed together. And then in Revelation 13:11 we have the other beast, the second beast from the earth. And we know that this is a fulfillment of the United States of America. And then in the next verse in Revelation 13:12 we read, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So it will be a cooperation between the Vatican and the United States to introduce the image of the beast and the mark of the beast. We are aware of this. And now we will see if something of this is fulfilled today. We are interested in this. We read in verse 15, and he, the United States, the second beast, was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. In which way do a nation speak?
Laws.
Laws. By laws. Yes, that's very good. By laws. So when they make laws that bind the people to follow certain rules or a certain way, you know, then the people have to follow it. And the Bible is saying that this nation, the United States, that are, you know, they're separated state and church in the United States, they will introduce the image of the beast, that is church and state together, and they will also introduce the mark of the beast. So here is the two pillars of the Catholic Church. It is religion and politics. And that is the mark, that is the image of the beast, church and state are working together. As I told, in the United States, they have separated church and state. So far. But no, see what is happening. Donald Trump wants to close the gap between church and state. You know, when about 4 weeks before the day of election should come, then he was asked to come to the evangelical leaders. It was 960 evangelical leaders. And they said, we have a problem. If you can help us to solve that problem, we will give our votes to you. And Donald Trump, he said, what is the problem? And they said, it is that Johnson Amendment. Have you heard about the Johnson Amendment? That gives, that says that religious leaders, they cannot take part in the political activity. And if they are loyal to this, they will have, they do not need to pay tax. The churches, they're tax-free. And they said that if you can take away this law, then we will give our votes to you. So the church can have more power in the world, in the United States. And Donald Trump said, yes, of course, that's fair. I will do that. And so the next Trump here promised to destroy the Johnson Amendment and the barrier between church and state. And Trump signed orders seeking to allow churches to engage in more political activity. And Trump said, my administration will stand side by side with the American Catholics. Isn't that interesting? George Bush instituted an office of faith-based and community initiatives. That program was to provide faith-based charity organizations with a clear avenue to get federal funding for their work. And today, churches, they receive tax money from the government. So this is very interesting. And President Donald Trump signed an executive order on May 3, 2018, launching a new initiative designed to bolster the influence of faith groups in government. So the White House is now gradually and rapidly tearing down the wall of separation between church and state. That is what is being done today. Gradually, they introduce the image of the beast. Church and state working together in the United States. An evangelical preacher, Paul White, said, "I could not be more proud to stand with President Trump as he continues to stand shoulder to shoulder with communities of faith. This order is a historic action, strengthening the relationship between faith and government in the United States. Very clear that today they gradually introduce the image of the beast in the United States, just as the prophecy has been, we have been foretold in prophecy." And then we will say a little about the Supreme Court of the United States. They have decided to permit same-sex marriage, as you know. The next step forward will be that the state will fine and persecute the people and the churches that will not accept this new law. And you know, in Leviticus chapter 18, we read, "You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination." And in Romans chapter 1, "For even a woman exchange the natural use for which is against nature, likewise also the men leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust for one another, men with men, committing what is shameful and receiving in themselves the penalty of the error which was." So how did God create us people?
Male and female.
Yes, as men and women. Not men and men or women and women. Men and it's natural. Two men, they cannot have a child. Two ladies, they cannot have a child. The bakers in Oregon was denied to make a cake to a same-sex wedding. They just wanted to follow their own conscience. But no, they have no right to do so. They have to follow the civil laws. So they cannot have to follow their conscience that tell us that it shall not be two women or two men in a marriage. But because they not wanted to bake a cake, the same-sex wedding, they have to be fined. They have to follow the civil laws. I think this is interesting. Ellen White is saying that in the last part of world history we have to follow the civil laws. We cannot just only follow our conscience. And the Supreme Court in the United States creates persecution on Bible-believing Christians when they have decided to permit same-sex marriage. Persecution is going on. And this will be the start, I think this will be the start of the persecution of God's people. The next step of persecution will come in connection with the mark of the beast. We know that the beast is a papacy, and now we shall look a little about the mark, and I think you know much of this. It is the United States of America that will introduce the mark of the beast. They are both known to introduce the image of the beast, and the next step will be the mark of the beast. Ellen White is writing in the Great Controversy, the dignitaries of church and state will unite to bribe, persuade, or compel all classes to honor the Sunday. So it will be church and state that will rule in the last part of world history. And we are perhaps in the toast of this statement today, but it will be iron and clay, state and church that will rule in the last part of this world history. And church and state in the United States will introduce the mark of the beast. And the Catholic Church, they're saying Sunday is our mark of authority. The church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. So Sunday is the day of the sun. It's not the day of the Son of God, but it's the day of the sun. It's a false Sabbath. Even the Pope is talking about Sunday as the Sabbath today. It's terrible. How they twist all things. Ellen White is writing that people of the United States have been a favored people, but when they restrict religious liberty, surrender Protestantism, and give countenance to popery, the measure of their guilt will be put, and national apostasy will be registered in the books of heaven. The result of this apostasy will be national ruin. Do you think this national ruin, do you think this will have something with the economic collapse to do? Yes. I think so. Yes. But it will be a moral ruin also. And then from the Pope's apostolic letter, all Catholics must make themselves felt as active elements in the daily political life in the countries where they live. All Catholics exert their power to cause the constitution of all states to be modeled on the principles of the true church, and they mean the Catholic Church. So today, the constitutions in nearly every country, they are being changed. The constitution in Norway, they have been changed after the model of this church, more and more, little by little. I think that also in this country, they will work on this to change partly and little by little the constitution. Brett Kavanaugh is a new Supreme Court judge in the United States. He is a devoted Catholic. He went to Jesuit high school. He is a Yale graduate. 6 of 9 Supreme Court judges, 2/3 have a Catholic background. All have been educated either at Yale University or Harvard University. And this is Jesuit institutions. Do you think these judges, Supreme judges, do you think they will have something to say when they will introduce the mark of the beast in the United States? Yes. So the United States have been a land of religious liberty. But when they introduce the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, the religious liberty will fly away. They will be persecuting the country. As America, the land of religious liberty, shall unite with the papacy, enforcing their conscience and compelling men to honor the false Sabbath, the people of every nation on the globe will be led to follow her example. So it will start, really, it will start in the United States, and it will come to England, to Norway, to Germany, to France, every part of the globe. And the Catholic Church, they say that if Christians unite, we can do anything. We can pass any law or any amendment, and that's exactly what we intend to do. They will pass a law about Sunday as a national day of rest in the United States, and this we will see. To secure popularity and patronage, legislators will yield to the demand for a Sunday law. And now we shall see a little concrete what is being done about Sunday as a day of rest. Poland has put into effect a law which gradually will ban all commercial trading on Sunday. And in 2020, all shops will be closed on Sundays, except for 7 exceptions before Easter and Christmas holidays. The law was proposed by the trade union Solidarity. And the trade unions in the world have been very active to introduce Sunday as a day of rest in all countries. Ken Wilson, the leader of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, he said that there's no Sunday laws in the pipeline at the present time, nothing that we have understood. And then we shall look a little on this, if it's some Sunday laws in the pipeline. In the High Court in Germany, we have heard a ban on Sunday shopping. Shops must close on Sundays. Germany's basic law protects Sunday as a public holiday, as days of rest from work and of spiritual improvement. So we will really see that it is something about Sunday and some laws about Sunday as a day of rest. Legal protection measures must recognize Sundays as public holidays, as the day of rest from work, said Hans Jürgen Pappin, President of the Constitutional Court. And in Norway, they have passed a law which forbids to disturb your neighbor on Sunday. If you disturb your neighbor, for example, by cutting grass, you have to be fined. That's a law on Sunday.
Wow.
I think this is coming other places also. The Sunday movement is now making its way in darkness, and many do not see whither the undercurrent is tending. But as the question of enforcing Sunday observance is widely agitated, the even so long doubted and disbelieved is seen to be approaching. The third message will produce an effect which it could not have before. And you perhaps know about the European Sunday Alliance. How many know about the European Sunday Alliance? Oh, I'm amazed. Not so, only some few people. You know, this Sunday, European Sunday Alliance was established June 20, 2011, and they are working to safeguard and promote working-free Sunday throughout Europe. They are very actively working to have Sunday as a day of rest in all Europe. And Pope Benedict XVI said Sunday must be the day of rest for everyone, so people can be free to be with their families and with God. And you know, now we have this family day, the World Meetings of Family Day in Dublin in the next month. And the last time it was in Philadelphia, and the Pope Francis, he also attended that meeting. And every 3 years they have these great gatherings just to promote Sunday as a day of rest. They call Sunday the Family Day. And that sounds very good. That families shall be together, you know, and worship God, and they shall have rest from work, and they shall have a nice time. But they are doing this on the wrong day. And I have shown you here soon in Dublin, they will also have these World Meetings of Families to uplift Sunday as a day of rest. Pope Francis is promoting Sunday as a family day in the whole world, also in Dublin. And we have to know about this Laudato Si, the encyclical of Pope Francis about climate change. Have you heard about it? And on page 233 to 237, shortly the message is, go to Sunday Mass, receive the sacraments, encounter God in everything, rest on Sunday. Can you see that they are working to have Sunday as a day of rest in the world? Secretly and slowly it's creeping forward. As soon it will be there. Suddenly it will be there. Because the time is going, we have sit here so long time. I think I shall stop with this. Because you are tired. I have more to say, but have to stop. But this was just a little briefing, just telling you that the prophecies of Revelation 17 and 13 is being fulfilled today. And last events will be rapid. So well, then I just will say to you in the last part that what you have seen here and what you know yourself about what is happening in the world. Do you think we are living in the last part of this world history? Yes. So what will you do? What will you do for yourself in this situation? That's really, and I must say, I appreciate really global ministries because they are going out on the street to the people with a message. We shall not just go to the church, you know, it's okay to go to the church, but you know, we have to go out to the people. That's most people have work to do. We can ask them to come to us, but you know, just some few people are coming in the church from outside. But we shall go out to them. Amen. So I hope, I appeal to all of you to take more part in this campaign, to give the great controversy. Amen. And to give the three anxious message to the people. Amen. And I will also appeal to you, know you have received this two pamphlets here also, the struggle behind the scenes. This is about the three anxious message, and this is being distributed in many countries. And this, especially this pamphlet here, the protest is not over 500 years after Luther. We have also packed the three anxious message into this pamphlet here. So I hope that you also. This is easy. This is it's only some few pages, you know, illustrated with nice pictures, and people can easily read this little pamphlet. Okay? So I hope if you want to have more pamphlets, you can sign. I will put this paper here on this pulpit, and if you want to give your name and address, and especially the email address, you can sign it here. If you should like to have more of these pamphlets, I will give this to Jay, because when we print these pamphlets in Denmark, we send it to Jay because he has a place to store it, and he gives it out to other people in Scotland and England and Wales and Latvia. So it's a question back there. So now, before we take this question, I will have 5 minutes for questions. We have any more time, and then I will ask Paul Dave to come here up and close with a prayer together with us.
I'm sorry, brethren, we're going to have to ask Abel, approach him after the meeting if you have questions, because we really supposed to vacate the building at 6 o'clock. Okay? So we're going to, but first of all, before I pray to close, I'd just like to thank Abel, my dear brother, and thank his dear wife, Benty, for coming all the way over from Norway to minister to us. And, you know, to give us, you know, precious truths that we seldom hear preached, or if ever, preached in our churches today. So I just want to encourage you to also tune into he's got a website. What's the website called again?
Endtime.net.
It's on some little cards he's handing out.
Yes.
And the cards are on, you can take the cards and you can hand them to people. Little, what's it called? My business cards, endtime.net, and he has all his videos and information on there as well. So please tune in. I just want to thank them both again for coming. And I want to thank you all for making the effort to come out and to make this day a blessing. Obviously, if it wasn't for you, you know, it wouldn't be as much of a blessing. So I just want to thank you for coming. Continue to pray. for Abel and Betty and for the work. The work will go forward and that Jesus will come and take us home. He's going to ask us to kneel as we pray to close. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you so much for the privilege you have given to us. We could come here today to worship you, to sit at your feet, and to be fed from your table. Lord, we have indeed been fed. Help us, Lord, as we've been filled now to go and to share the information, to share your passion, the zeal for your work. Help us to be faithful and true. Help us to be like Jesus, so that when he comes, we will see him because we will be like him. Thank you for everyone here. We pray that you'll bless each and every one of us. And as we go to our various homes, and as Abel and Betty fly back to Norway, grant us all traveling mercies. Thank you so much for your goodness, Lord. Help us now to clear up and to do it quickly, in a miraculous way. For we pray in Jesus' name.